Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video episode on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian. I'm here again today at the James Julia Auction House. I'm taking a look at some of the guns that they're selling in their August of 2015 auction. And I always like manual repeating pistols. There was this very short period in history, right, about in the 1880s, where semi-automatic pistols hadn't quite been figured out yet, but people knew that you could get a repeater, and they were trying to make repeaters that weren't revolvers. And this is another example of one of those early, it's not quite prototype, but it really wasn't a successful design. None of them were really successful in that they went into any major production. This particular one is serial number 33 of its type. Probably not a whole lot more than that were ever made. This is a Berger pistol. What makes this one unusual, even amongst ring trigger manual repeating pistols, is that it's actually sort of a halfway automatic double action mechanism. So often with the ring trigger guns, when you pull back, you'll chamber around and fire it, and then you push the ring forward and it extracts and ejects. Well, on this, everything gets done on the backward pull of the trigger. So why don't we just take a closer look at that right now, because it's pretty cool. All right, so these were invented in 1880, patented in 1880, and they were sold probably in 1881 or so. So what's actually going on here is that we have two sort of hammers. This one is actually the breech block. This one is the hammer. You'll notice this little piece right there, that's our extractor. So the first part of this trigger pull, you are actually extracting and then ejecting the cartridge from the chamber, the last one that you fired. So there is no single action. You can't cock this and leave it ready to fire. This is strictly double action only. Now if you look down inside the action there, when this front hammer-like assembly comes all the way back, there's a little elevator right there that rises. That's going to bring up a cartridge from our tube magazine. This held 5 rounds, and you load it actually very much like you'd load a modern .22. You pull the tube out. This tube has a spring-loaded captive spring plunger in it. You drop your 5 cartridges in here, primer down, bullet forward. You then put the magazine tube, the follower tube, back in, rotate it over to lock. I mean, that's straight off a 1960s .22 rifle. And then, like I said, when you've got this cocked all the way, that little elevator comes up. This extractor has pulled our empty case out. When the elevator rises all the way, that will flip the empty case out of the gun, and it's got a live round sitting on it. Then, do this again. So once it's all the way back, and I'm going to kind of trick it here, like that, then the breech block goes forward. It chambers that cartridge, and I have released the breech block, but I have not released the hammer yet. So you can see our firing pin right there. That's going to get struck by the face of the hammer here. Just like that. Gun fires. You then release the trigger, and it resets this to work again. Now it's interesting that we have this pretty huge front sight here, but there is actually no rear sight. Like I said, this is serial number 33, and I don't think these ever went into any sort of mass production. So if they had, they probably would have gotten some proper sights. As is, they don't. This looks like a very awkward gun to hold. It actually fits the hand surprisingly well, better than you'd think. It does have a very long pull of the trigger because of this whole mechanism that's being activated. But you know what? That actually kind of works. If you look very closely, you can see our maker's mark and serial number here. Berger, serial number 33, and then brevet because this is patented. So this is chambered for a 7.5 millimeter cartridge. That's basically identical to .32 caliber. This would not have been .32 ACP. Of course, 1880, this is too early for an automatic anything. I don't think it was a revolver round. As you can see, if we look closely at the lifter, it's a pretty short overall length. I think it was a proprietary cartridge, but I don't have any specific data on that. So at any rate, understanding is it holds 5 of them in the tube magazine because you need some space for the spring to compress in there. But there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is coming up for sale here at the Julia Auction House in October of 2015. So if it's just too cool for you to go on living without, and I think we'd all understand that, take a look at the link in the description text below. You can see their pictures on it and their cataloger's description. And if it's something you want, you can go ahead and place a bid online or come up here to Maine and check out the auction live yourself. Thanks for watching.